So after 5 games, I'm handing the trophy, the Offensive Player of the Year, to Emeka Egbuka. Welcome to Just the Stats NFL, the show that covers the all-time greats to the current players leading the NFL. I'm Ernie Jennings, your host. And in this episode, we're going to look at another top 10, this being a little bit different, top 10 rookies. In my opinion, who I think are the top 10. There's not that many rookies to consider as far as Offensive Rookie of the Year goes, but we're going to look at some from quarterbacks to running backs to wide receivers. And then we'll take a look at the standings, see how things have changed with the standings. There's no undefeated teams anymore. So where do all the teams stand? All right, so let's start with the rookies. Who is currently in the lead for Rookie of the Year after 5 games? Well, as far as the quarterbacks go, obviously Cam Ward has a big lead over Jackson Dart, Dylan Gabriel, and I guess you can't really count J.J. McCarthy because he was around last year. But Cam Ward, Jackson Dart, and Dylan Gabriel right now, who among them is going to be the better quarterback? And obviously, like I said, Cam Ward's started every game, so he's already got 879 yards. He's only thrown 2 touchdown passes so far, and that's interesting. 3 interceptions. So among these 3, he's got the fewest touchdown passes and the most interceptions. Jackson Dart's only started 2 games. He's got 313 yards and 3 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. And then Dylan Gabriel, who just got his first start, has 3 touchdowns already, 0 interceptions. And when you look at the quarterback ratings, Dylan Gabriel's got 102.2. Of course, this is 1 game starting. Jackson Dart has an 80.8 after a couple of games, and Cam Ward, after 5 games, has a quarterback rating of 64. So, right now, if you're going to give it to one of them, I really don't know who. Cam Ward might be the lead just because of the amount of time he's put in. But if these other 2 guys, Jackson Dart and Dylan Gabriel, get to play the rest of the season, we could see something different. So we'll see what happens here. Now, looking at a couple of running backs, several of them actually. Ashton Jeanty obviously seemed like the guy right off the bat playing for the Raiders. Unfortunately for him, the Raiders' offensive line is atrocious. And I don't know if the players are just bad or the coaching's bad. But if you've seen some of the blocking that he's had to deal with, it's terrible. Not only that, it's horrible. And the fact that he is being hit behind the line of scrimmage when he gets the ball more than any other player is ridiculous. They need to improve the line, and they may have started. He's looked a lot better in the last couple of weeks. So right now, Ashton Jeanty, among running backs, leads all running backs with 349 yards. But Quinshon Judkins is second with 347, and he's played 1 less game. So that's interesting. Judkins also has a better yards per carry. He's got a 4.8 to Ashton Jeanty's 4.3, which is actually up. It was under 4, so he's improved there as well. They both have a couple of touchdowns. Now, Jeanty did pick up a lot of receptions out of the backfield. We'll see if Judkins picks that up and starts having more of those as well. And then you've got Omari and Hampton for the Chargers with 314 yards. He's also got a couple of touchdowns, and he's got 4.8 yard average as well. So now he has played for 5 games. He's another possible option. They're all over 300. And then a sneaky guy is Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt, 283 yards, but he's started 1 game. He's got a 6.6 yard average, and he's already got 4 touchdowns, double more than any of the other guys we're talking about. And the last one would be Cam Scatterbo. I'm just throwing him in. He's started now a couple of games. And obviously, some of this is going to matter when players get back. Are they going to continue to be the main guy? Especially somebody like Scatterbo. We'll see. But right now, Genty, if the Raiders line can get a lot better, he could really improve his numbers drastically, in not only in carries, rushing carries, but also in receptions. And Judkins, though, he has looked really good. Watching him, he also looks good. He's not as fast as Genty, but he sure can hit the hole well, and he's looked very impressive so far. So those two are leading the pack as far as I'm concerned, with running backs at least. Now, looking at 3 more players, these are 2 wide receivers and a tight end. Emeka Egbuka for Tampa has 25 receptions for 445 yards and 5 touchdowns. Tedero McMillan, 24 catches, 1 less catch, but only 351 yards and 0 touchdowns. And then the tight end, Tyler Warren, 23 catches for 307 yards and 1 touchdown. So Egbuka looks impressive. He's averaging 17.8 yards a catch. Not shabby. Now, one interesting thing about this is right now, to me, of these 10 players that I'm talking about, basically, the 4 of the running backs, I'm discounting Cam Scatterbo at this point in time. We got the 3 running backs, 4 running backs, 3 wide receivers, and then these 3 quarterbacks. Right now, to me, obviously, despite Cam Ward being a quarterback, and this often favors a quarterback, but he has not looked that impressive yet. Part of that, I'm afraid, might be the difficulties of the defenses he's had to play, and just starting right off the bat versus, say, Jackson Dart and Dylan Gabriel. So we'll see as time goes if he can improve his numbers. But those 3 quarterbacks, 4 running backs, and 3 wide receivers, to me, Emeka Egbuka is the most outstanding of all those 10 right now. I mean, he's got 1 more catch than Tedero McMillan, but for an almost 100 extra yards, and he's got 5 touchdowns. There's no running back with 5 touchdowns, and he's got an impressive yards per catch. Now, the key with him is if Godwin picks it up a little bit and gets better. Right now, he didn't look too swift, but he hasn't played for such a long time. And then when Mike Evans gets back and is on the field again, how much is that going to cut into Emeka Egbuka's numbers? We'll have to wait and see. That could really affect his chances. And then Tedero McMillan playing for Carolina. Interesting with Bryce Young, if they can get on target better. Tedero McMillan has 1 fewer catches than Emeka Egbuka, but he's been throwing the ball in his direction 5 more times. Egbuka has 38 targets, Tedero McMillan 43. So what happens if McMillan and Young can get on a better page and start connecting at a much higher rate? They're only connecting on 55, almost 56% of their passes versus 66 for Emeka Egbuka. If they can increase that number, there's a good chance that Tedero McMillan's numbers could increase, and he definitely is the number 1 guy on that team. So it's not going to stop. He's going to continue to get the passes his direction. Now, Tyler Warren looks good as well. Tight end, I just don't know if he's going to be able to put up the type of numbers that a wide receiver is going to put up. He has looked very impressive with 23 catches on 31 targets. So right now I'm saying Emeka Egbuka, number 1. I still think Ashton Genty could maybe pull this out if he can really go on a big run here, literally, actually, and just show what he's got. And then as far as these quarterbacks, we'll just have to wait and see. So after 5 games, I'm handing the trophy, the Offensive Player of the Year, to Emeka Egbuka, and that will change weekly. We'll watch this weekly and see what happens. All right, let's take a look at the standings. This has been impressive to watch. Like I said, no undefeated teams. There was 2 big games. Denver came back and beat the Eagles, and the New England Patriots, a divisional game, were able to knock off the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo. That's impressive. All right. Starting with the AFC East then. We're going to look at the Buffalo Bills are in first place, 4-1. I was afraid they might just run away with this, and if they had defeated the New England Patriots, they would have really put a good gap between them. But New England Patriots are 3-2. Buffalo Bills, like I said, are 4-1. And then you've got the hapless Miami Dolphins at 1-4, and the New York Jets at 0-5. So clearly, this is a two-team race. One good thing for the Patriots, they're 2-0 in the division. Buffalo Bills are now 2-1 with that loss to the Patriots. So obviously, and they'll play again, and be amazing if the Patriots can pull off another victory. But 4-1 for Buffalo Bills, New England Patriots 3-2. So this is close there. Now looking at the AFC North, Pittsburgh Steelers were on a bye, so they're 3-1, which is why they don't have 5 games yet. Cincinnati Bengals are 2-3. Now, Cincinnati just made a trade for Joe Flacco. I think they feel like they're not out of this. And if they can hang around in this division, get enough wins to be close, and Burrow gets back, they could pull off the division. It might be slim pickings, but they're giving it a shot. They picked up Joe Flacco, and they're going to play him and see how it goes with him as their quarterback. Jake Browning was terrible, just throwing interceptions just too much, and their offense was dying. So we'll see if Flacco can give them a lift long enough until Burrow gets back in December. So Pittsburgh's 3-1, Cincinnati Bengals 2-3, Baltimore Ravens and the Cleveland Browns are 1-4. Now, Baltimore Ravens, their defense is horrible right now. There are too many injuries, and Jackson being out, he might miss another game. They are not out of this. I mean, they're 2 games out of first place right now. They just need to get people back and then get on a run, and they could get back up in the lead. So this could be a very tight division all the way down to the end. I'm excluding Cleveland here. Now, AFC South, this has gotten close as well. Indianapolis Colts 4-1, Jacksonville Jaguars 4-1, Houston Texans were 0-3. They are now 2-3. They've won their last 2 games, and then the Tennessee Titans bringing up the rear with a 1-4. So right now it's 2-man race here, but the Texans aren't out of it yet, and they still have to play these other teams again. Jacksonville's already beat them. Colts and Jaguars are 1-0 in the division, 1-0 in the division. Jacksonville Jaguars on a 3-game winning streak. And the one game they lost unbelievably to the Cincinnati Bengals, they lost with just seconds left in the game. Led the entire game until the end. Otherwise, they'd be undefeated. They had a huge win against Kansas City Chiefs on Monday, but the Colts also look very impressive right now. They're just racking up the points, and their defenses look pretty good as well. All right, AFC West. This is very tight. Los Angeles Chargers are 3-2. Denver Broncos 3-2. Kansas City Chiefs are 2-3, and the Raiders are 1-4. I mean, early, the Chargers ran right out and won the first 3 games, and since then they've lost the next 2. So they've let everybody back in. And in the meantime, the Denver Broncos have won their last two. So it's put them in a tie, basically. Difference being the Chargers are 3-0 in the division. Denver Broncos have the other three teams, in fact, have only played one game in the division. So Denver Broncos are 0-1 in divisional play. So the Chargers have done what they needed to do in the division. But this is going to be another tight one. And I'm sure the other teams in the AFC West were thrilled when the Chiefs lost to the Jaguars, because otherwise all three of them would be at 3-2. All right, let's look at the National Football Conference. NFC East, the Philadelphia Eagles lost as well. They were undefeated going into this game against the Denver Broncos, and they were beaten in Denver. They are 4-1. The Washington Commanders, who did win, they are now 3-2. Dallas Cowboys are 2-1. And then the New York Giants are 1-4. So this is fairly close. It's kind of interesting that the Dallas Cowboys are hanging in there, and they may not be as hapless as they appeared initially. We'll have to watch and see. But if Lamb gets back this week, possibly, otherwise next week, they could have quite a powerful offense. I wasn't really sure about it, but then Javonte Williams has looked impressive as a running back, so they've got a good running game now. And then they've got top-notch wide receivers. They've got the leading tight end right now with Ferguson. So we'll see. But obviously the Philadelphia Eagles and the Washington Commanders have two great quarterbacks as well. You've got some good quarterbacks here. The Eagles have Hurts, and Commanders Daniels, and the Cowboys Prescott. So this is going to be a fun one to watch. Eagles lead it right now 4-1. They're 1-0 in the division, as are the Commanders are 1-0 in the division. Cowboys are 1-1. It's going to be very close. Now looking at the NFC North, Detroit Lions have jumped out to a little lead here. They're 4-1. Green Bay Packers, who are 2-1-1. They did not play last week, so that's why they only have 4 games. So they could be 3-1 this week. Minnesota Vikings are 3-2. And then the Chicago Bears are 2-2. Chicago Bears were looking pretty good. But actually they weren't. They were 0-2. They've won their last 2 games, so they're 2-2. And they didn't play as well. They had a bye week, as did the Green Bay Packers. Now, the Detroit Lions started off with a loss, and since then they've won 4 games straight. They're starting to look pretty powerful as they've gotten their team together, and they could be extremely difficult to beat. All right, NFC South. Tampa Bay Buccaneers keep on winning close games. Baker Mayfield's amazing to watch. When you look at their points for and points against, Tampa Bay's 4-1. Points for 135, points against 132. That's 3 points. And yet they're 4-1. And they're 3-0 away from home, 1-1 at home. Pretty amazing team right now, how they're pulling these out. Now, can they keep that up, or can they figure out a way to improve their defense? Their defense is giving up 132 points. That is not good. There's only a couple of teams. Dallas Cowboys have given up more. The Las Vegas Raiders, Tennessee Titans. There's a few teams that have, but still, that's a lot of points for a team especially for a team that's in first place. Another interesting thing about the NFC South, they all won last week. They're all on a 1-game winning streak. New Orleans Saints got their first win. Carolina Panthers, who did not look that impressive, now have 2 wins. They're 2-3. They looked incredible that one game against Atlanta, and it seemed like a fluke, but then they won again last week. Atlanta Falcons are 2-2. They were on a bye, so that's why they have 4 games. They had that bad game, like I said, against the Panthers, but then they came back and looked pretty good the next week. So we'll have to wait and see if they're going to be competitive with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I don't expect the Carolina Panthers or the Saints to really be competitive. It's going to be a two-team race. If that's going to be the best it'll be in the NFC South. And then finally, the NFC West, the San Francisco 49ers somehow are 4-1. Their only loss was to the Jaguars, and then thought for sure they'd lose to the Rams. They did not. They are 3-0 in the division, amazingly. I mean, the Cardinals you can understand, but the fact that they were able to beat Seattle and the Rams is just something. And similar to Tampa Bay Buccaneers, this is a team that's 4-1. The big difference, they've only scored 106 points so far in 5 games. So that's 21 points a game. They've had against them only scored 98 points. So they do not have a very big point differential, and yet they've been able to stack up a 4-1 record. Unlike, say, the Seattle Seahawks are 3-2, they've scored 146 points and given up 105. Quite a big point differential. In fact, every team in this division, even the Arizona Cardinals, who are 2-3, who somehow are doing the very opposite of the 49ers. Somehow the 49ers keep figuring out a way to win a game on whatever kind of strange thing happens. The Arizona Cardinals manage to lose games on the weirdest things. They're 2-3, and yet they've outscored their opponents so far this season. Not by much, but they have. They've lost 3 games. They started out 2-0. They are now 2-3. That is a rough start. All right. So we've got several teams now. No undefeated teams, but we do now have quite a few teams that are 4-1. So now we'll see who can hang on to the one-loss category. And then you do have the Pittsburgh Steelers 3-1. So you've got 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 teams with only one loss. I'm including the Green Bay Packers, who are 2-1-1. Now, you know that's going to change. It was very surprising. I did read something about this is in a decade. This is the earliest in the season where there was no undefeated teams left. So we'll see how long the teams with one loss remain now. All right, that's a look at it. Looking at one more little number here just to see. Right now, the Jets are 0-5. They are the only undefeated team. You really do wonder actually about the Miami Dolphins and the Jets and their coaching. The Jets just look helpless out there. They've scored 112 points, which is more than some teams, but they've given up 157. I don't know. They don't look like they have a cohesive game plan going, and that's Justin Fields. I don't know. I know he can run, but we'll see what happens. He just is not. I don't know if he's able to run a normal game script. All right. I was just checking on any teams that had winning streaks and stuff like that. Jaguars are 3-game winning streak. The Las Vegas Raiders were 1-0 to start the season. They now lost 4 in a row. Like I said, the Detroit Lions lost their first game, and then they've won the last 4. Those are the longest streaks right now. All right, that's it. Look at the rookies. We'll keep looking at them and watching who's pulling away from the pack of leading contenders for Offensive Player of the Year. And we'll take a look next week and see who has changed as far as who's in first place and so forth. Which one of these teams have dropped from the one-loss category, and let's see if the New York Jets can maybe win a game. All right. Hope you like this, and I wish you'd subscribe. You can find this podcast on YouTube at Just the Stats NFL, also on your podcast apps, Apple, Spotify, and if you want to, you can email me at justthestatsnfl@gmail.com to leave me a message. Appreciate you listening. And that is a wrap for this episode. And I'm out.